Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Natty Scene, which is your only insight into the world of natural bodybuilding. And this week, we have been joined by a really cool guest, which actually is the first guest that we've had in a while, comparative to obviously me and Vicky coming on the podcast and doing our M&M updates. The last guest that we had was Damien, and now we've got AKASH. So AKASH is a bodybuilder that I've actually followed for a while, and I put it up I think about a month or two ago on my story how highly I rated his blog of his natural bodybuilding prep and then transitioning into his off season, because it was just such a simplistic, structured blog of what exactly it's like to go from start A to end B. And that was superb, because a lot of people, including myself, I must admit, have got halfway through their preps and they're like, okay, actually I might want to start documenting this. It's very rare to see a full-on prep from start to finish with every change and rationale given behind the changes, which makes total sense. Even though I know you were being coached, you still gave the rationale. It was a great insight and something that I looked at every single week, and I'm sure that plenty of other people will continue to learn from not only your off-season one, but the one that sits there as your contest prep one. So I'm very excited to have AKASH on, learn a little bit more about him. So AKASH, first off, thank you for coming on, and how are you today?
I'm doing good, thanks. Thank you for having me on, AJ.
No worries at all, no worries. So, first up, for people that don't know you, who is AKASH? Simply, what do you do? Where do you come from? How old are you? And what potentially, again, lead into what got you into the sport of bodybuilding?
Okay, so AKASH is an online personal trainer. I run RNT Fitness alongside Adam Haley.
Yeah.
I'm 25 years old and I'm from Northwest London, Pinner to be exact. How I got into this sport was actually through powerlifting.
Interesting.
So when I was younger, I used to do a lot of sport. I used to play tennis, boxing. I used to do sports 4 or 5 times a week. But then when I got to about 17, 18, I realized I was still really skinny. I was 18 years old, 60 kilos. But I wasn't skinny ripped either. I was, skinny fat with the moobs, the pot belly. So I decided to join the gym. My friends took me to the gym, started training, and then I just kind of caught the bug. And then through university, I was kind of drawn to the S&C sort of stuff and the powerlifting side of things. So I was always reading, Westside Barbell, Elite FCS.
Where did you study, AKASH?
University of Birmingham.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so I did sports science at University of Birmingham.
How did you find living in Birmingham? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, it was good for student life, but I wouldn't live there after.
No, okay.
No. It's good student life there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a big S&C community there, and I was always drawn to the strength training side of things. I competed in a bit of powerlifting after I left university, and then injuries kind of took over. My form was never good in the gym, and it wasn't until I met Adam actually, and he persuaded me to do a bodybuilding show.
Okay.
So he took me through an off-season, kind of 6-month off-season, and then we started dieting, and that was kind of my first bodybuilding prep. And then ever since then, I've been hooked on bodybuilding, and my goals are centered around, building muscle and dropping body fat now.
Sure, absolutely. So, I mean, a lot of people get into the sport through different ways, and obviously, I think I find that the things that are quite similar across the board are people very competitive, and tend to stray more to single, you're the only person that has the main effect on the result in terms of the sport. So coming from a powerlifting background is quite sort of usual across the board with that in that regard. When it came to bodybuilding and also competing, did you know about natural bodybuilding from the get-go, or did someone else introduce you to it? And thus, did you manage to get along to shows before you did your first show? So
yeah, I went to see. It was the BMBF. It was one of the BMBF shows earlier in the season. You start in April, right?
Yeah. Sure.
I can't remember which one I went to see. Okay. That year, what I did is I was gonna peak for the Central.
Okay.
which is always at the end of July. But I didn't want to go to the Central not having any stage experience at all. So I did the Southern as well.
I see.
I think it was 3 weeks before.
Okay.
That was my first show, just to get some experience. But otherwise, I'd seen one BMBF show and I'd seen one UK BFF show. Okay. And I knew I didn't want to do anything like that because it just wasn't competitive, right?
Yeah,
But I didn't know too much about natural bodybuilding. To be fair,
okay.
I was just looking for a federation that allowed me to compete on a level playing field, really.
And what would you say? I know that you're an online coach yourself. Like, what would you say is the main reason that you decide to stay natural and compete within a drug-free environment?
To me, it's the challenge.
Okay.
I just enjoy, trying to figure things out and seeing how far we can take the body naturally.
Yeah, and step on stage, like, right? Feeling like it's all you, right?
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah, I mean, what draws me to, he's mentioned the competitive side of things, but what draws me to bodybuilding is the all-consuming kind of nature of it. That's really what it is for me, and that's why I enjoy business and bodybuilding is just kind of the natural thing to do if you like something 24/7, all-consuming. Because there's no let up, right? You're prepping. It's not like powerlifting where you can get away with certain things outside of training. You can't do anything. There's no break with bodybuilding.
Yeah, there's I'm sure we'll speak about it as well when we sort of discuss how you transitioned into an off season. But I'm a big believer, especially now, like how I've structured this prep and the way that I've learned from other people, speaking to some of the highest level natural bodybuilders at some shows this year. It's like there's no off season, like there's no let up. Like when you are in an off season phase, you need to maximize it. The people that maximize it, the people that continue to tick boxes in their off season, tend to be the ones that come back on stage not only improved, but like they prep on higher calories. Exactly. They have a better time with prep. They have better transitional periods. So yeah, I think that I'm very much in agreement with that, and I think that's why a lot of people don't fucking do bodybuilding, or at least don't do it right and don't do it optimally, and just do it because they like the gym, and then they realise, oh, okay, actually I can't really be an optimal bodybuilder because I'm not willing to do this 24-hour 365 thing.
Right,
you know what I mean?
And after my first season, I made so many mistakes, which is why this year I'm so diligent with it.
Yeah.
Because after the first show, I did the typical rebound.
I think I read that on your blog. Like, how crazy did you go?
It wasn't like the crazy stories here, but after 6 weeks, I was 13 kilos up, and I was already back and worse to where I started at, and I just put myself in such a bad position for the off season, and then it was just a cycle of cutting, binging for like a year. It was just I was all over the place for a year. I didn't really make any progress. I was getting injured all the time because my body weight was all over the place, up and down. Damn. I was eating shit foods. You know how it is, right? I don't know if you've been in that place, but your body just doesn't know where it should be sitting. So you're picking up injuries left, right, center. It was about 18 months of no progress, really.
It's interesting. Like, I've seen clients do this. I don't think I've ever gone full blown fuck up. The first show that I ever did, I definitely binged after, but I binged for like 2 days, and I was like, fuck, I'm done. And then I got straight back to structure. And I think if you do that actually, and we'll talk about it a little bit, I'm sure, but that actually kind of acts as a recovery diet, because you overeat so much, you gain like 2 to 3 pounds of legit decent weight that's not going to come off. And as long as you mentally accept that, and you just you bump your calories up a sensible amount and start eating with structure, that's actually probably one of the best things you can do if you have binged. The idea is that you don't binge at all, because the relationship with food aspect is not something you want to develop. But if you do like a 2-day free meal fuckery, then just getting back on track after that's probably the best idea.
So this year I didn't do any of that. I didn't do any free meals straight after. I just kind of treat you've read it, right? You just treat it like a normal day.
Yeah,
my mentality is completely different.
Yeah, it's all up there. It's the same. It's the same thing with me. Like, after all of my shows, because I did plenty of shows in 2015. After all of them, I'd have a big meal out, have a blowout, and eat as much as I could. So after every show, even though I had more shows in the season to do, my body weight would go up 4 or 5 pounds, and then I'd spend that next week trying to get that off. it was a horrible mental cycle. Whereas this time, I've come home, I've had maybe some extra peanut butter on my oats, woken up probably lighter than my stage weight, continued dieting, got better and better and better and better, and mentally, I'm like a different person up here. I mean, we'll see. It's only the proof's going to be in the pudding as to what happens after my final show. Yeah. But I feel like I don't even need to increase calories drastically. I feel like I need an increase, but I don't feel like I need to do anything drastic. Whereas last time I was like, oh, I can't wait to get calories up. Yeah. I can't wait to make huge increases.
For me, it was more about the energy.
Yeah, I agree.
It's never really about the food. It was more just trying to feel like myself, because it was getting to the point where I was planning pee breaks. You know, I was like, when you're sitting on the sofa and you're thinking, I need to pee now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can get up and go. Right? So it's that kind of thing. You just want the normal behavior to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I know that for both your preps, obviously you had coaches. Now, just for your first contest prep, what would you say the main things that you took home from that one in terms of the approach for the diet, the length that you gave yourself, and thus the condition that you got into? Yeah. What did you learn, and what did you potentially take into your second prep that you knew you wanted to fix and be better at?
So we did a 17-week prep first season. This was with Adam Haley, and the dieting approach was pretty low fat, higher carb, moderate protein. The mistakes I made weren't really on the dietary side. He wasn't doing my training. I had someone else do my training, and that was where I think I don't think was that optimal. It was very high volume,
right?
And it got higher and higher volume as we got closer to the show, which was complete disaster because I was flattening out so quick because I was doing. I think I was doing 350 to 400 reps a session at one point, 6 days a week.
Holy shit!
I was refeeding every Sunday, but I was flattening out by Wednesday.
Yeah.
Every single week it was happening. I think those are the big mistakes, because I think Adam nailed it nutritionally, and I couldn't really have brought better condition for my first season.
Okay.
Because I'd never been to that kind of position before, and I won the show, right? So.
Oh, okay, epic! I didn't know that. That's
I won the juniors that year, so.
Cool.
And I wanted to go to the British, but I had a trip to Marbella already planned.
What year was that, AKASH?
2014.
Okay, so you'd have met at the British. You'd have met Mike Perrin, who's now a DFAC pro.
Oh, really?
He won the juniors in 2014. You'd have also met. Let me think who was there. Christian Kerr, I think, came fourth.
There's some good guys, I remember.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best junior lineups. 2015 was pretty good as well, but 2014 was pretty decent. It was a strong lineup. So you'd have definitely contested though with your physique, I imagine.
So nutritionally it was all good. We didn't do anything really fancy, and then it was more the training side of things that I changed a lot this year.
Yeah, because essentially you don't, unless you like. It's funny because some of the people in the assisted side of things. Now, we won't get into who was programming and training, whether they were assisted or unassisted, whatever. But
they were natural, actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, cool. Good that you're honest about that. Because I've seen even people that are very highly knowledgeable, like the hypertrophy coach, Joe Bennett. He's actually a fan of using using your weight training sessions as calorie expenditure tools. So at the end of the prep, his volume actually starts to increase. But I think the only rationale behind him being able to do that is his higher recovery capabilities from being an assisted athlete. You know, his rate of protein synthesis turnover is increased. He's actually, and this is why I don't know whether you agree with this, AKASH, but like, have you seen like some of the IFBB pros, some of the bigger ones out there, like for example Jay Cutler and things like that. In the past, he's talked about the fact that by the end of his prep, he's actually on a lot more food than when he is in his off season, and he's training with much higher volumes. It's like the complete opposite end of a natural diet. It's really, really interesting to look at. But obviously, the main thing for that is the fact that they're assisted, right?
For sure, because muscle growth is all about having that big disparity between protein synthesis and protein breakdown.
Yeah.
And maintenance of muscle, right?
Uh-huh.
But if you're training with a really high volume, that breakdown is going to be so high that we just can't recover from it.
Yeah.
So we need to manage that volume, and that was the biggest thing I changed this year.
Yeah, for sure. So essentially, would you say that your training for this second prep has been set up in a way that is the max amount of training that you can do and recover from?
I pretty much nailed it. I pretty much nailed it with my training this year in terms of volume. Like towards the end, the volume was pretty low. It was about 10 to 12 sets of workout.
Wow, so you're someone that actually doesn't need much volume or
but
can't recover
I was going so much into one set though. I was going.
Okay.
Every set was
so it's high intensity, yeah.
It was high intensity, yeah. It was high intensity. It was low volume. I was training 6 days a week though for the last 6 weeks.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I just don't think I needed much more. I couldn't really, but it was taking me an hour and a half to complete it though.
Yeah, because of the rest periods.
It was just taking up, rest periods were so long.
Yeah. So are you a fan of? Have you ever followed approaches like dog crap training and things like that? Yeah.
I've run big cycles of that in the past.
How have you found that, and what got you into that? Sort of like, how did you find out about dog crap training, and what do you think are the main positive sides of training with that level of intensity that you see a lot of people not doing? Because I think a lot of people now, would you agree, are too heavily focused on pure volume and increasing volume over time as opposed to actually doing some intense work. Would you agree?
100%. How did I get drawn to dog crap? I think it was the first exposure I had was I hired Jordan Peters in 2013 for like a 12-week stint.
Okay.
Just for muscle growth, and his was obviously the low volume approach. It wasn't dog crap, but it was that 1-2 sets per body part. And then I did a bit of Scott Stevenson's work, and then we tried dog crap. Me and a couple of training partners, and we just burnt ourselves into the ground. So for me, it's never be. If I go too high intensity, then I can't recover from it.
Yeah.
But if I go too low in intensity, then I get bored. So I need that kind of moderate approach. And the first thing, Derek, my current coach, Derek Natcher, so he's turned pro in the natural ranks and then made the crossover to MPC. Yeah. Cool. So he's done both. And
what federation was he pro in with the naturals? Do you not know?
Maybe IFPA. I'm not sure.
IFPA. That's pretty good. That's a decent pro card to have.
But yeah, so he's got the experience of both, and the first thing he did was lower my intensity in training. He said you're just digging yourself into a hole too much.
Wow.
That you're going too high with the intensity that you just can't recover. So the first thing he did in my off season, I trained with him for 18 months before we started prepping, so we had a good off season together.
Sure.
The first thing he did was to lower my intensity, and that was a big thing.
And
my injury rate went down as well.
Yeah, I imagine. So now, was the lowering of intensity through? Was that the fact that you were doing multiple sets at a high intensity, or was it literally the one set that you were piling everything into?
It was more the execution of the set I was doing. So I don't know if you've read my blogs recently, but I've been talking about when you're doing a set, not breaking it up too much.
In terms of rest pause.
Yes, yeah. So say you're doing
rest pause.
Yeah, exactly. Say you're doing a set of 10 on the squats. It doesn't become like 3, 3, 1, 1, 1. You're taking
like a 5-minute set.
You're taking like 10 deep breaths at the top of every rep. Those kind of things, they dig into your nervous system recovery so much.
Yeah.
So it's the idea of trying to be a bit cleaner with your execution of sets. I think that's been huge in my recovery from day-to-day training. I don't feel I get as burnt out, and the recovery of my nervous system is much quicker. Because I remember in the past I'd been doing breathing squats, for example. The 20 rep squat with the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
And you're meant to pick at 10 RM and then go to 20. But after like 5 reps, I was already doing three deep breaths. And then I'd be standing there for a good 4 or 5 minutes trying to complete the set. And it's great fun. But after that, I'm completely, I've dug myself in such a hole that I can't recover from it.
So what would you say in terms of taking these sets, like the set that you'll put everything into?
Yeah.
What would you say is the maximum amount of intra set rest pause that you would use?
Now I just do one really.
Okay, so one towards the end of the set. Yeah. I mean, that's something that definitely with it wasn't so much my It's because as soon as I switched to hack squats, I was able to produce a more consistent set without this giant rest. I think with more, I see it more often in free weight movements where the stability aspect comes into play. That's where people seem to just have to rest because they're like, whoa, that rep was really, really wobbly. I need to reset. And I got a video from a client of mine of his squat, and it was like, I had him in his protocol. He had a top set where the goal was around about 15 reps or 15 plus, and he was extending it. And legit, he sent it across on WhatsApp. That guy was squatting for like 3.5 minutes, and I was like, mate, like the loading's too much. Like you're stopping at 3 reps. Like you're almost using a 4 or 5 RM for 15 reps. I mean, it blew my mind because I was like, how the fuck did you do that? Because he's mental. But it takes a certain person to be able to do that.
But I think you have to go through that, though. You have to do it.
To learn what intensity is like.
You have to have these periods of fuck up. So I think the reason why I really enjoy training, programming is my thing. The reason why I enjoy it so much is because I've done so many stupid things in the past.
Yeah.
You know, you start to form your own philosophy.
I bet
based on your mistakes.
I bet the amount of clients that you get coming to you on too high intensity is quite minimal, though, right?
No, you don't see it.
Yeah, you don't see it often. Interesting. No, I think I'm glad that we touched on that because I think that's a lot of people. A lot of people will like to hear how you've learned in terms of programming and training methods. And I know a lot of people that follow this podcast are interested in sort of like Jordan Peters' approach, the lower volume approach, higher intensity, and the importance of intensity in training. It's nice to sort of hear someone round that up. And, you know, like I said, you know, a lot of people have become slightly lost in the whole volume scenario. And tend to forget that, you know, intensity does actually play a role, and definitely.
I think for natural bodybuilders, if you're not getting stronger over time in a wide variety of rep ranges, you're not going to make any progress.
No.
I mean, you've probably tried it, right? When you're just trying to pump and you follow those crazy volume workouts, but you don't really get much out of it.
I don't find it enjoyable.
Nah.
You know, mate, like
there's nothing, isn't there?
Like yesterday, for example, was a lower session for me, a leg session. And because I'm a week out, I had to reduce intensity, and I matched volume, but intensity was far lower. There was nothing to failure. I fucking hated it. I found that one of the hardest workouts of this entire prep to turn up and do, because I didn't want to do it. My adherence would be awful if someone told me, AJ, you can't do your top set. And you can't take anything close to failure. You've just got to do this workout with these sets and reps with this volume, and that'll be enough to sort of hold on to muscle mass. I'd just be bored. bored. I need some intensity.
Brings you on to another point there. Your buy-in and your excitement to a program is number one, right?
Key, yeah.
You've got to have the program that matches your personality. So if your personality likes, those top sets, taking them away is going to affect your adherence. And it's going to affect your progress. So you need to have something that fires you up. For some people, that is volume. So for some people, I will give them volume just because that's what fires them up. They want to do 3 different chest exercises, 4 sets each, and get a crazy
I find that a lot with females.
Yeah,
they want hella volume.
Yeah. But if they enjoy it, that's what they're going to get better results on. So.
Yeah, agreed. So moving back to this year, mate, what was the decision behind this year not doing the finals? And would you say that the point at which you got to the stage, did you feel like mentally and physically you couldn't ask yourself to do another 8 weeks? Was it that, or was it more so sort of business lifestyle related?
It was it was a 20-week prep, 21-week prep. That wasn't the main thing. The reason was I said to myself, I'm only gonna do the British finals if I win my class. So
the interesting thing is though, mate, the guy that beat you won the whole thing at the British.
I know, it's crazy, and on the day it was close, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was leading at the pre-judging.
Yeah.
And then I think I flattened out towards the end in the night show.
Yeah,
and he just blew up. I mean, he was a great athlete, right? He blew up in that night show, and I think I just flattened out. I don't think I ate enough in between the prejudging and the night show. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your opinion on that. What do you think of the idea of, because there's two different views on this, on show day foods. A lot of people think that you can't assimilate much of the carbohydrates that you're going to be eating on show day.
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in, if your water intake is sufficient, you've got sufficient hydration status, the carbohydrates that you eat on show day, given they digest well, I think they can make an impact.
Yeah, I mean,
think
looking
you can
back,
change your look on the day.
So Derek and I spoke about this a lot, and we both said that the prejudging we peaked it perfectly, but I just don't think I was full enough for the evening. And had we done it differently, we'd have done a bit more of a bigger load in between.
Yeah.
And I was really conservative in between, and looking back, I know that probably cost me.
Yeah. I think overall, in like looking through your peak, I think the way that you peaked is exactly how a natural bodybuilder should peak, in terms of looking at it from I think you were almost dipping into like a 2-week peak, where
so
you
what we
were
did
actually
is,
raising food from like 2 weeks out.
Yeah. So 2 weeks out, I bottomed out in terms of weight. Nothing was moving. So then we slowly started walking.
Your food was low, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was low. I mean, I took myself to a really, really low place, which is good. It's fun though, right?
I bet that was fun.
Then we slowly walked the carbs up, so that it was almost like a recovery diet in 2 weeks, which is probably why I felt so mentally good, because going into show day, I had already had a week of, on 60 grams of fat, 300 plus carbs. So I was feeling good going into the show. So after the show, I didn't need to make drastic food increases. We just carried on slowly increasing the food.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And I think that helped me hugely mentally.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think the problem was just a bit too flat. And what I found is, as we started walking the carbs up continuously, about a week after, I was looking better and better and better.
Yeah.
Especially my legs were filling out a lot more. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
So back to the thing about the British.
Yeah.
So the first stipulation was win my class, and then also it was starting to take away from business and life in general. And I just thought, it's a good time now to call it there.
Yeah, and I know a lot of things. I mean, my assumption was that you'd probably definitely be mentally strong enough, given the fact that you could probably continue some element of a reverse and end up on, pretty high calories by the end of that, and actually not have to dig as much as you ever had to. Like, the digging was done, you were lean enough.
It's funny, 6 weeks out from the British, I was still I showed a weight, right?
Peeled, yeah.
Even 4 or 5 weeks out, I was looking at myself thinking, should I just do it? But then I had a trip to Toronto booked that came up for business, so it took it up, and it mentally made me feel, okay, now there's no point in me even thinking about it, because it's gone. But up to that point, I was still thinking I can still do it. I'm still ready.
How are you feeling mentally at that sort of, like, still hanging around? Not mentally. How are you feeling physically? Still hanging around at stage weight, sort of a decent.
So I held stage weight for 5 weeks after the show.
Wow.
I still have striated glutes then. I've still got feathers in my triceps, even at this stage.
With multiple
but I wasn't feeling
increases
good.
in food.
I wasn't feeling good. I was always cold.
Yeah.
Freezing cold. My energy wasn't great.
Training?
Wasn't really good either. I was no drive in the gym.
Yeah.
'Cause before, you're feeling shit, but you've got that show coming up. Your drive is still hard, right?
Yeah.
You're feeling like shit, and you got no show. You're going through the motions, right?
It's like, fuck it.
And then it wasn't until I increased my body weight a couple kilos, then I started feeling a lot better. Then everything just changed. Then
I think then we're in agreement that the best approach post show is to gain a kilo or two and then start
100%.
reversing.
100%. Gain a bit of body weight, and then get out of that danger zone, and then carry on.
But also, this is guys, this is with the preface that you are peeled. Because like if you're, I see so many people step on stage and then they're like, they put up like an Instagram post of like a bicep vein and they're like, this is not maintainable. I need to eat now. And I'm like, oh no, mate, like you didn't even get that lean. Like you could probably you'd probably actually be more beneficial reverse dieting, because you've restricted your calories aggressively to get mildly contest lean,
Yeah.
and now you'd actually benefit from gaining weight steadily. Because you basically just done a mini cut, or you've ended up where a mini cut and a clean up should be. But if you're peeled, then just getting those couple of kilos on initially, probably 4 to 5 pounds made you feel a bit better.
It was actually, so I was 71 on show day. I think it was when I got to 74, I felt much better.
Yeah, and then you can still, you're still lean.
Oh yeah,
and then you can make multiple food increases from there, but you can actually like look good and train hard, which is what you want to do as a bodybuilder. Like, you don't want to be in this like peeled state for ages, and like just so you can post up on Instagram, oh, I'm like a month, 2-3 months post show and I've still got this, or I've still got that. I think that's what a lot of people aspire to now. And I must admit, even I've thought about that. I'm like, what if I reverse really diligently and I can say, here I am a month post show, still skinny and like can't even fill out a small Primark t-shirt.
And the thing is, though, you have no life as well, right? If you do that,
you have no life.
You've got to get back to your life, right?
Eat a burger.
Yeah. I mean, this year I tried to keep my life pretty much normal till about 3 weeks out, and then it was just the last 3 weeks you can't really do much, but until then I pretty much lived a normal life, which I thought was really good, and especially mentally.
Yeah. In the last 3 weeks, did you sort of taper off PT and work requirements just a little bit?
I was still PT.
Oh right, okay.
Cool. I was still doing it. Work never stopped.
Work never stopped. Okay.
Yeah, it never stopped. I didn't want it to affect that. But just like more like social occasions, I just couldn't really.
I see. Okay. Yeah. I think I'd struggle. I think I'd struggle to like maintain a 9-5 job at the moment. I think I really would. Like, unless I had a diligent routine, I think I'd struggle in that environment. I think the fact that I'm primarily based online has been an absolute godsend this year, because the last prep that I did, I was doing like hella PT, like too much PT, and trying to balance all of that. And like I can remember some days just I wanted to cry in front of clients.
I remember I was PTing someone about 2 weeks out, and all of a sudden my vision was blurry. I couldn't really see him properly, and I said to him, "Oh, just give me a moment." I knew I shouldn't be training him, right? It was just my energy wasn't there. I was just sitting on the side, like, do this, do that.
Oh god.
And it was tough, but you just got to get on with it.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I mean, I think we've gone through a really decent amount of stuff here. One thing that I would like to know, like, we've actually just like kind of hovered over my questions in a really cool way, and we've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover. Now, what I would say for you at the moment is, obviously you're in an off season. A lot of people go into an off season a bit blind, and obviously you've been in that place where you've not really made much progress. So you've learnt from that, and obviously going into this off season, you won't replicate that. Now, what are the goals? So as a physique athlete, we always look at ourselves and think, okay, I can improve this, and this.
Yeah.
What do you need to improve to essentially get those few points in placings besides being fuller on the day? And next time you step on stage, win, and then win a British. Obviously, that's the goal.
That's still my aim. My next aim is to win the overall.
Yes.
The Central in 2-3 years time. Yeah.
Is that the goal? 2-3 years Central.
2-3 years Central overall. That's my goal. Yeah.
Epic. So, what improvements do need to be made?
Overall size I need. I mean, my legs never. I mean, I just need overall size. Really. I mean, I spoke to Andrew Chappell, one of the judges, and he just said, you lost on size really. If you have a couple more size, you're pretty balanced. A bit more size in your legs, a bit more size overall is always going to help. So, and it sounds a bit boring, the answer, but I think overall just more size. I mean, when I spoke to Derek, he reckons 5-6 pounds will make me more competitive for sure. Yeah,
that'll be impressive for sure.
We've set 5-6 pounds of 3 years, which sounds really boring, but
yeah, I think it's feasible.
Right, natural bodybuilding.
I think it's feasible. I think it's definitely feasible. So yeah, I mean, one question that I did have that came into my head earlier on in the podcast with, I've been asked a few times as well, and it's something that I've been trying to manage throughout my prep. I know that a lot of your energy expenditure was not only through steps, so step counting, but also through outdoor walking and like going on power walks. Do you feel that that's something you'd keep in next time? And do you feel that like the tapering of that in your final week, did that help fill out your quads? Do you feel like you were holding a lot of maybe sort of acute inflammation in that area, or do you feel like you dwindled them away a little bit with lots of expenditure? Like, what was your opinions?
I would have definitely done less steps.
Yeah, okay.
The step thing was more me. It wasn't my coach. He didn't even know I was going out for these extra walks. For me, it was just like, okay, I want to try and hit this goal. And it was getting to the point where, you know, it was 9 p.m. I was like 17,000. I'll go out for a walk now to hit 20. You know, I shouldn't have done that. So I definitely did overdo it with the steps. I was doing 20,000 steps for 6 weeks straight.
Yeah, and your cardio
on top of my morning cardio, which I was pushing hard. I wasn't just going for a walk outside. I was loading up on stims, and then I'd set a goal, and I'd have the same playlist on and the same route every single day, and I'd know exactly which checkpoints I'd hit. You know, it was like a training session every cardio session. So
mate.
I think I overdid it with that as well.
Yeah.
But you learn from that, right?
Of course you do.
So if I definitely backed off that for sure, especially in the last few weeks, because it was only when I backed that down to about 15k during my reverse diet that my legs started filling out a bit more, and when I got down to 12k, they felt normal again.
Yeah. See, did you ever feel like your legs felt like they were holding on to like inflammation? Because I do a pretty, like, I've gone up to like 25k steps a day. And that's it. No extra stuff on top of that. No. And I've now tapered them back to 20. As soon as I did that, my weight actually dropped, which is weird. And I almost want to taper them back more. But I'm like you. I'm like, what do I do? You get almost like step guilt when you don't do them. And I don't feel like my legs are inflamed. Did you ever feel like they were inflamed, or was it only when you started pulling back you were like, oh, okay, they might actually have been inflamed and I didn't even know it? They were pretty separated towards the end. I don't think they were really holding on to much more. I think it was more just they weren't filled out as much as they could have been. Yeah. So I don't think they were holding information. It was just more they just didn't have the rest that they could have had. And when they were given it, they were like, whoa, quads came back. Yeah, that's something really interesting I noticed, because the only times my quads have looked like really cool has been post-show, when I've done 3 days of pretty much like
nothing.
And I'm like, oh shit, I actually look really good when I've had no option but to do under 5,000 steps.
Sometimes rest is what your body needs, right? It's so hard to back off mentally when you're... I mean, you feel weird, right, when you're not hungry, or you feel weird when you're not tired during prep, right? You want to feel, I don't know, some of us, right? We want to feel shit during prep, right?
Mate, I may as well, like, burn my Fitbit and burn my Fitbit 5 days out, and then just not have any accumulation of steps, and that's the way I should peak.
Yeah, probably help you, you know?
And then buy a new Fitbit afterwards.
I'm surprised you're still doing so. How many steps are you doing right now?
Right now I'm still doing 20k a day.
I'm surprised you haven't tapered it down, because I would have thought you'd have been able to hold condition at a lower energy expenditure now.
Yeah, I mean, but they were at 25k, mate. So they've already been tapered by 5k, and food has been coming up with that. The reason why they've been sort of kept higher, personally for myself, is I don't feel like that's a task for me at all. Like hitting 20k steps, because that comprises of like a 60-minute walk in the morning. It's
like 3 hours of walking, no?
Yeah, well, no, I don't work it out as that. Maybe my Fitbit's a little bit inaccurate. But I do like a 60-minute walk in the morning, and then I accumulate some in the gym, and then I do like a 20-minute walk in the evening, and that manages to get me to 20k on my watch, which is odd. But I don't, like, because I've done 25. 20 feels like fuck all. So, I do plan to taper them back to 15 slowly over the course of the week. This week, because obviously I'm peaking to some
You
extent.
peaking this week? Peaking with
Yeah,
this
but like I said, you know, I wake up every morning, my legs look peeled, they look diced. Could they be fuller? Probably.
I saw your picture this morning. Yeah.
Could I trust the process and make them fuller? Probably. Yeah, definitely. I've just got to do it. You know, that's the thing. But that's a big topic for like the whole, like, and I've talked about it with Vicky before. Is like, it's hard to stop. It's hard to back off. Some people find it really easy. Some people are like, oh, thank God, last cardio session. I'm like, I could just keep doing this. Like, it's just ingrained in me to do this, and partly because I want it so badly, and that's where the overworking mentality comes in, right?
Well, it's 'cause you gotta love the process, right?
Yeah. Anyway, I think that we'll leave it there. It's been a good chat, both a little bit about me and my crazy steps, and your prep and learning more about yourself. It's been wicked. I hope people have learned a lot out of this. Before I let AKASH plug himself and RNT a little bit, if you're listening on iTunes, then screenshot your phone, tag us both in it, tell us what you think, and that'll be wicked. If you're on YouTube, take an image now of us both. Give us a bicep flex, AKASH.
Oh, I'm in a hoodie.
Yeah, that's good. It's fine. I'm in a hoodie as well. Cool. We got that. Take an image of that and then tag us away. Let us know what you think. Put us on your Instagram stories, and share away with any friends that you think can learn from this. And then, AKASH, have the floor. Tell people where to follow you on Instagram and talk a little bit potentially about RNT. I know that you've got some limited spots at the moment for coaching, if anyone's interested, and who the type of people you work with are.
Okay, so on Instagram you can find me on @AKASH Vaghela, so AKASH
Cool.
And the company Instagram is @RNT_fitness. We mainly target, intermediate level trainees who are, stuck in a plateau, spinning their wheels and looking to get to the next level. We're running a launch right now. We've got, I think, as of now, 13 spots left until we close our doors. So if you want to work with Adam, Haley, or I, and take your results to the next level, you know where to find us. It's rntfitness.co.uk.
Cool. I'll make sure to have links below. Thank you very much for your time, buddy, and I'm sure we'll chat soon. Thanks, guys, for listening, and see you in the next episode. Cool. Over and out.